Austria, the electric renegade puts another race victory on his CV, wins race number 2 at
For the first of 2 weekends here in Germany, we're starting in Oschersleben. Drove here in the TCR car earlier in the year, did about half a day in the wet, and I think that's pretty good preparation to drive the Mini. It's gonna feel a little bit easier than TCR, and it looks like we're gonna have some mixed weather conditions this weekend as well. So it's gonna be a challenge for everybody to get used to the car on this circuit, but I think with the laps we had done before, it's gonna be nice to know the layout going in. So as always with practice, we never show what we can do early. We always sort of work on it piece by piece. So piece the track together throughout the session. And that was evident because we were like P9 in practice, but all of our sector times were pretty much on point. And yeah, was just working out markers for the next gen car and then getting ready to piece it all together for quali. So quali was the first time actually piecing a lap together and seeing what that feels like.
Good morning everyone, day 2 here at Motorsports Arena Oschersleben. It's for now just clouds, no rain, which is good for the drivers.
So the perk of going out first is that practice is really fun because you have clear track, you get a clear head to learn. But now we're going into qualifying and I'm out first once again. And with a green track like it was, we didn't really want to be out in the front. So I'm opting to scrub my tires in a little bit and do an in-lap in through the pit lane to cool it off before getting some good track position to then go for a push. And as we pull into the pit lane and go out and sort of start that first push lap, coming pretty much into the final corner, they drop red flags and we have to back out of it. So our sort of bank safe lap that was supposed to be at the beginning of the session is gone. And in true German fashion, they took their sweet old time with the red flag. They made sure to keep the clock running while they were sweeping the track with brooms of all. So then sitting in the pit lane, the engineer knocks on the window and...
So 1 minute until the restart, you've got 10 minutes left in the session.
Now I'm in the middle of the pack and everyone's stacked up, so it's not where you want to be at all when you're going to be one of the quickest. You sort of just want one person in front of you to chase and get a tow. And so I pretty much had the best 2 outlaps of my life, and going out, made as many moves as I possibly could. And even starting this lap, I had to overtake a car into the last corner, and already 2 tenths down coming onto the start-finish straight to gain it back. And what I feel reflecting on that lap, looking back at it, was probably one of the messiest pole laps you'll probably ever see. It was still good enough to put on the front row.
Either full send or no send, and we picked the good option this time and we held it all together.
All right, Ellis, congratulations on pole position.
Thank you.
P1 for the race tomorrow.
We are in Germany at Oschersleben for the second race weekend of NXT Gen Cup. It's been raining. Let's see what happens for the first race that's just about to start. It's our first international race weekend, already in our second championship round, so excited. Let's see how today ends.
So for race 1, starting on the front row, with a drying track, it was always going to be difficult to be unsighted in P1.
5 red lights will be on the gantry very soon. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's lights out, and then the Spezia gets a good start.
In the first opening laps, Linus was pushing really hard to get close and stay with me. So once he, had a little more pace, being able to follow and just see what I was doing wrong, I just let him have it. He went to the inside, let him go and just followed along. And in the heat of our battling, used the push to pass after making a little mistake to catch back up. And then once we went into the first corner again, rounding the second corner, he had a technical problem and sort of just stopped on the inside, and I went by and then had a nice 6-second gap to P2, but in, the luck of course, they don't do full course yellows, so it was a full safety car, which means everyone's stacked up, full restart, and yeah, I just used my last push to pass to get away, so I knew I was on the back foot.
I mean, now it's a push to pass battle. Who has push to pass? Who has the position to gain, to overtake?
In the end, I knew I was going to lose 1, maybe 2 positions. I expected to probably finish 3rd in that one, but ended up only losing 1 spot. And yeah, just protected the championship. Still got us really good points considering Linus was our biggest competitor, only a 5-point gap. And it really opened things up for me to give me a little more margin. So for race 2, they flip the top 8. So I'd be starting P7, and the one car that passed me in the previous race was P8, and it's pretty much worth the same amount of points as a normal race, so it's arguably the most important race of the weekend. Off the gun, I got a really good start, and now P2 in the championship, my main rival going into that race that I wanted to finish ahead of, he flung himself off in the first corner trying to go around the outside. And so that was a really nice sort of like ease on the pressure of moving up, as I knew that my number 1 competitor was now really, really on the back foot of things. And I think I made up 4 positions in the opening lap. The first safety car of the race kicked off, and that was really what we needed because a few people in the front used their push to pass. So we didn't need any to get up the field as far as we did. And so to have that advantage going in, I knew I was lining up to use it right off the safety car, but there wasn't much time left.
Ennis Pietsia looking behind, and your underneath using push to pass. Ennis Pietsia using push to pass as well. He's eaten up. Here's Alexander Christensen. Both have gotten past Ennis Pietsia now up to turn 2. He has a little bit of a look though, down to turn 1.
And then we had a mega gap the rest of the race and saved the second one. I knew I pulled really far ahead early, and I wanted to push to make sure I protected myself in case P3 had 2 left. And then once I saw they weren't using any, I pulled it back a bit, so I dropped to about 8/10, behind or in front of P2. And then the last 2 laps were really big push laps. I sort of cranked up the pace and then had about a 1.2 second gap by the end of it. So it was pretty much a textbook, work up the grid early in the opening laps and then keep a cool head for the final few positions and just manage it until the end. So wrapping up the weekend, we had the podium as always, got to stand right where I did to watch the DEKM podium in 2020. And my mechanic who wasn't there on quali, we got to give him a good show on Saturday for the racing and have that big of a points lead now. I think almost 6 times the amount of points lead that we came into the race with was really successful and super exciting for the DTM round in Nurburgring. And yeah, I think it was just pretty much got the absolute maximum that we could, considering we had really bad luck in the first 2, qualifying and race. It was really, really tough. So to end it with a win was super, super exciting. And to take another win after Falkenberg, it was sort of reassuring that it wasn't, just a one-off, that we run at the top and, we can lead every session. So the second half of our German next-gen adventures takes us to the Nürburgring with DTM. So not only partnering and being a support series to a legendary championship, but arguably one of the most famous racetracks in the world. And to get to do that on a junior level unexpectedly this year was really awesome. We got to be sort of part of that support series role with Fiesta to go to some big weekends and big tracks, but never quite on this stage with the big crowd in the grandstands, the packed paddock, and we got to go to the AB pit box to see, how they work with their top level equipment. And it was really sort of just eye-opening to get to really race on one of those weekends, you know. Practice was sort of what we always do, working on it piece by piece and getting it slowly pieced together. And it felt good. I was confident. You know, it was early in the morning, so we knew the track was going to be completely different by the time qualifying came. And it was really just a warm-up, just to get used to the layout again, figure out where everything is, find basic markers. So qualifying, we had a fresh track from the rain, and the rain usually washes away some of that grip, but going in, we still expected there to be a decent amount of traction.
Qualifying live here from the historic Nurburgring.
Ellis Piezza in the beautiful Hankook car is leading the way, out to start his first flying lap.
I mean, you always go into quali expecting to put it on pole, so I expected to be, you know, somewhere in the top 2. I knew I was strong, but in the session, when I saw sort of around me the other cars, I knew that it wasn't going to be it. And even trying everything, just nothing was really working with the car. So starting P7, I knew I really had some work to do. Championship rival started on pole, so I knew I had to just catch up. I had a really nice margin, so I wasn't too concerned about finishing ahead. I just knew as long as I can make the podium in both races, it'll be damage limitation pretty much.
For our championship leader, Ellis Piezza, gets through up into P4.
I mean, this is touring car racing at its best, isn't it? Contact.
Rubbing is racing.
Rubbing is racing.
And of course, Next Gen Cup fashion, we got a good safety car. So under safety car, it starts to pour rain, and this was the first time anyone had driven on the slippery track. So to make up the spots and get to those last few positions to get up onto the podium, it was really, really sketchy being on that front pack in the top 5. We're the ones that are pretty much experimenting for everybody.
Sides off Linden's grunt force, and he gets him down in the turn 1. They're still side by side. Seems like the push to pause has run out though.
I look in my mirrors as we're flying into the first corner. We all brake super early, and it's just like chaos in the background. We have people sliding off, and some people trying to go to the outside, and they use their push to pass to try and jump the field, and they just carried in way too much momentum. And it was just smooth sailing from there. Kept it on the road, and just, again, we knew it was gonna be a safety car. So coming onto the back straight, I lined up a push to pass. I was gonna jump P1 if they had maybe put the safety car out 15 seconds later, or let that be the last lap, but advised against it, and we actually pressed the push to pass but lost it because the safety car started too early. So ended P2. After starting P7, it was really, really good result considering the circumstances. And I think considering we had to deal with a safety car restart, arguably not wanting one because we were in such good momentum, it was a really good result.
Yeah, I mean, it will be an exciting race. So obviously Ellis Piezza starting P7, just in front of Linus Granfors, winning the first race. Ellis has pulled away though in the championship standings. He's 39 points ahead of the second place.
And he's not winning every race either. He's just consistently there, consistently performing. Ever since Oschersleben, he has finished no lower than second, which just tells you how consistent you have to be to lead that championship.
So race 2, we're starting P7 again. So right where we started in race 1, and it's full wet this time, so it's obviously reverse grid always brings chaos, so to have rain, it brings even more.
So Ellis Piazza is off the track a little bit with some understeer. He's attacking Enzo Holman, giving him a little bit of a nudge from the back.
Turn 2, I got tagged on the inside trying to sort of make some moves, and that sent me off and I got punted, so already on the back foot even more. And then throughout the race, it was actually less chaotic than before. There was, not as much bumping and shoving because it was wet, so everyone was a little more cautious, but had to work up the field. And I had a few good moves, but once Linus got away and I was still stuck fighting, the other kids were fighting really hard because this was their opportunity to get on the podium. It was just built too much of a gap, but really solid points. I wasn't trying to push too hard either. 5-point loss on him, it was still a net gain of a few for the championship lead. So I wasn't too concerned about fighting for the win like that. It was really just keep on the podium. Having the margin that we do now, it's definitely a lot of confidence when it comes to the battling.